Hello, my name is Tricia, and my husband and I and our two kids, we live in Pennsylvania. We're originally from the Midwest, and we've been here now a couple of years. And in the last 12 weeks is when I joined the Inner Self Diet and was acquainted with JoLynn, who's amazing. And I feel terrific about my progress. And so I'm going to tell you a little bit about my journey. Hopefully it will help someone out there make the choice or maybe commit a little bit differently than they would have otherwise. So hopefully this helps. My story is this. I've struggled with my weight as long as I can remember. Over 30 years. I'm 43 years old now, and so really since I was a kid. And it wasn't that I necessarily had a weight problem as a child, but I definitely struggled with eating and eating appropriately, and I was always on a diet. I mean, ever since I really can remember. And later in life, while I dieted and successfully took off weight, I gained it, and I gained it back, and I gained more back. And so at one point, you know, I saw numbers on the scale that I never imagined I would see, and I began to accept those numbers as my reality. And once I began to accept those numbers, I began to just really not see myself anymore. I didn't see myself as someone who was overweight. I didn't look in the mirror and feel that way. And so my reality had kind of changed, and I think I was really hiding behind that facade and behind that fat and not even realizing it at all. Food was my treat and my reward. I don't use it that way now, but certainly was the main mechanism that I had to celebrate success, and then also to use as a way to soften harder times, failures, emotions that weren't necessarily, enjoyable. So I feel like this has completely changed my outlook, my ability to be happy, and has really put me in control. And I think that's the biggest word that I'm going to use throughout the video, is that I am back in control. Logically and rationally, I always knew what I needed to do, but I couldn't figure out why I couldn't do it. I'm a person who commits. I don't quit. I take my work very seriously. And so for this part of my life, I could not figure out the equation for why my formula wasn't working in this area. And so it was baffling to me, which I think just sort of manifested in itself of eventually feeling completely out of control. I did not know what to do. So I was out of choices. I came to the program. I felt like I had tried every single diet. I'd been quote unquote successful on many diets and losing weight. And if I lost 10 pounds, I would gain back 20. Then I'd lose the 20 and I'd gain back 30. And so just over time, that took its toll. And I ended up significantly overweight, and now have clear line of sight to being able to lose that weight. So struggle-free, that concept, I remember asking JoLynn several times, what's the definition of that? I don't even understand struggle-free, because for me, everything, if it's worth it, it must be a struggle. Success is painful, no pain, no gain. Things must, in order to achieve happiness, there must be some struggle along the way, and that is just not the case. And so I think not only from a weight perspective did JoLynn help with that, but she also helped really frame up that all of these beliefs are just that. And once those beliefs are solidified in your mind, they manifest themselves and take a life of their own. And so I feel back in control of that, have reset my beliefs, and then have been able to shift my eating behaviors from that. Never in a million years would have imagined that. And while I said I was out of choices and felt like, okay, I'm at the end of my options here, I wouldn't say I was optimistic. Let's put it that way. I think part of me was thinking, well, gosh, as long as I don't gain more weight, maybe my success should be based on that. I just can't put any more on. And I completely sold the program short, because now that is not my definition of success at all. And I feel like the person and the weight and the lifestyle that I want to lead is completely here, and it's just a matter of time until all the weight is released from my body. So that feels really good. So all the things that I came into the program for, I've reached, and I've gotten so much more out of it, and I'm very grateful for that. And that takes a lot of faith. I so wanted JoLynn to tell me up front, here is what I'm going to do. Here's what the 12 weeks will look like. Here's how it will progress, and here's the steps and all of that. I wanted her to tell me what that was, so that I could, again, kind of logically get my mind wrapped around that. And she didn't, and I think it's probably a good idea that she didn't. I wouldn't have believed it anyway. And it probably would have just made me question it more, to be honest, because I would have been able to then rationally and logically start poking holes through that. And so I remember her saying, first off, just have faith, believe, you're gonna have to trust. I'm great at what I do. I've helped a lot of people, and I did. And while I think I could have been more optimistic and more open in the beginning, even with that shell on my exterior, I was able to break through and get great success. So I think for those that are out there that are maybe wondering what the techniques are and what specifically is going to happen, my advice would be, why do you want to know that? Does it really matter? Maybe it matters because you want to have confidence that it's going to work. And kind of the whole point of the program is that you don't need to know that to have the confidence. It's really mindset and hard to understand. And I think if I had heard that in the beginning, I would be skeptical as well. So if you can put some belief into that, or imagine circumstances in your life where you didn't necessarily see the path, but things worked out okay, that's what I would say about the inner self diet. I could not have done this on my own. It's one thing to sort of take steps and complete steps, and it's very kind of motion driven. So I do a step, I complete a step, and I'm on to the next step. The inner self diet is certainly tools and steps, but it is also about beliefs. So you do a step, and you also are shifting beliefs and thinking at the same time in order to achieve the success. And so I think that's almost impossible to do on your own or without a coach. And I also think that if you're following steps, you're sort of observing, and you're taking them in, again, logically and rationally, but you're not necessarily sort of emotionally digesting it or understanding it that way. So I think, those are two things to just think about, that, if you're going to take the leap, those are huge benefits out of receiving coaching from JoLynn personally. I can't really think of too many reasons why you wouldn't do the program. I struggle with this thought that why wouldn't you? And maybe there are people who truly believe that this should be easy, and this should be, just give me 2 steps to do and everything will succeed. But if that were the case, you would already be there. So I don't know that that's a logical argument. I think the thing I would say is if somewhere deep down subconsciously you're looking for another way to fail, and you see this as a chance to have a self-fulfilling prophecy that way, maybe don't do it. But then again, I'm not so sure that JoLynn would let that happen. She holds you accountable and gives you tools and hope and a process to succeed. So self-sabotage really isn't an option, but if that's your thing, which I can understand, I've done that in the past as well, then I would say avoid it. But otherwise, if given the option and there's any way that you can make it work and commit to yourself, this would be the time to do it. It makes a big difference in your life as well as with your weight, and I feel great, and I feel grateful to JoLynn for her help. Thanks.